like a cheesy, you know, like I was saying, like a welcome, guys. This is a pathetic, you know what I mean? So furthermore, but you know, talk to me because when people say that, what's your, obviously I kind of know anyway, but what's your actual depiction of why Eminem is as overrated as he is? Like, what is it about him that makes you think, like, I don't understand this?
Personally, I think there's actually white rappers who are actually better than him. I really do. One of them being Ill Bill from Non-Fiction.
Heavy, Non-Fiction are heavy.
This is the thing.
I forgot about them, you know.
I feel like them MCs there are very, very underrated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But where, I'm not saying Eminem ain't good, but a lot of his tunes don't really appeal to me, and I think partly the reason why he's rated as high as he is because he had people like Dre behind him and all that.
Yeah.
And obviously at the time, Dre held a lot of weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, alright, a lot of people say his skill levels at a very high standard and all that. You know what I mean? But what I find is, for me, his lyrics are quite complicated.
Yeah, well, I was speaking to my brethren about this today. And the kind of conversation come up, and it was about the whole overrated rapper thing. And he was like, I really do like Eminem. But I said to him, well, but what is it you like? Because are you going to tell me you like how he raps or how he delivers bars or what? And he's just like, he's got a nice flow and whatever. I'm like, when he's ready, he kind of does have a nice flow. But why I feel like he's overrated is because, again, it's not that I don't think he's good. Just like, that's cool. There's a lot of rappers that do that. Like Keith Murray does that quite a lot, to be fair. But Keith Murray, again, is also someone that wouldn't really get mentioned in the same breath as Eminem because of their status in the game and what they've achieved. But for me, like, Eminem can't touch Keith in any capacity. Based on how Keith puts himself across on records and on albums and when he's featuring and stuff like that. Eminem's done a lot more like comical shit in his career, like the Just Lose It and like Forgot About Dre and like all these just comical tunes that just take away from his actual craft, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like the first album, Infinite. That a lot of people probably don't know about. So do your research if you haven't done so already. Slim Shady LP or the Marshall Mathers LP, that weren't his first album. He had one before that. I think it's 1996 it came out.
Yes. And that's another thing, sorry to cut you up. I found that with that first album, the production was so much better than anything after that.
Yeah, much better. And
you know what I mean?
The funny thing is, if I remember rightly, he actually worked on the production alongside the Norm Porter, who obviously was part of E01 as well.
Yes.
So I think that both of them together produced the album, like from top to bottom.
Yeah.
But even with that, when you listen to it, the content in the songs, like the content in the tunes, like his delivery, how he sounds, like he sounds very hungry, as he always kind of did, to be fair, throughout his career. He's always kind of sounded hungry, but it's also like, as much as there's hunger, there's like professionalism. Whereas I feel like later on in his career, there wasn't really no professionalism. It was more about, how can I market myself, and how will people like me? But I don't. Maybe that weren't his outlook, but it comes across that way. Like, yeah. So where Eminem's concerned, I think the whole. It's not that he's not good, because he is. He's a skilled MC. You can't really take that away from him. He is.
But as you said, there's many skilled MCs.
Yeah.
Who don't get the sort of props he does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just so many. You know, Razkaz being one.
Yeah.
Pharaoh Monch being another.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're all skilled.
But then this is the problem about these conversations. And it annoys me because when you watch Vlad TV, for example, as you know, there's the whole. You find when Vlad has debates with MCs and they talk about how good someone is, Vlad will always go, "Oh, but didn't that artist sell this many records? And didn't it?" And it's just like, but that's irrelevant. Because if you're gonna say that, then that's the equivalent of saying, well, Razkaz can't talk to Vanilla Ice because Vanilla Ice sold more records. Exactly. It's just like, well.
Which is bonkers.
Evidently, who's the better artist? Like, there's no debate. But stuff like how much sales have been made and like how successful an artist has been in terms of their pocket shouldn't equate to what they do on the mic. Like,
100%.
It should be completely separate. I get it. It happens in conversation, and there is times where you're going to incorporate it, but. At the same time, it's just like, well, nah, you got to forget about that. Because if there was no such thing as album sales, and it was just about how good an MC was, like what hip hop is technically based on, like when MCs were battling and stuff like that. Exactly. There's no this wasn't about money. It's like who ate the other MC pause. So
that's right. That's right. As far as I'm concerned, sales doesn't come into it.
Yeah.
I'm not interested about the sales.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All I'm interested in is if you're good or not.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sales mean nothing to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So that's because you may have sold millions upon millions of records. To me, that doesn't determine if you're good or not.
No.
You know, look at someone like Drake. You know what I mean? Sold loads. Probably the biggest selling artist at the minute, maybe.
Yeah.
You know? And he's dreadful. You know what I'm saying? He's dreadful. It's just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I haven't got anything good to say about him.
Bosh, you make me laugh.
As a rapper, I've got nothing good to say about him.
But, right, no, do you know what? But I will say,
saying?
right? You know what I will say? I think I've said it to you before, to be fair, when it comes to Drake, right? When I was in school, I was a massive Drake fan. Me and Igor, obviously, as you know, as you call Drake.
Yeah.
So, when we was in school, it had been 2006, 7, and Drake had a mixtape. 2006, Drake had a mixtape. I think it was his first mixtape. It should have been, yeah. Room for Improvement. But if you go back and listen to that mixtape, you'd be in shock as to how the contrast in his artistry as a whole. He was a completely, very similar to Eminem in the sense that it just sounds like two completely different artists at both ends of their careers. Now, I get artists evolve and they change and whatever, but when Drake first came out, that mixtape, like, it's closer to, like, I'm trying to see what I can compare it to without, I don't want to do comparisons, but it's very much more geared towards, like, Tribe, Slum Village, like,
that sort of
Soulquarians, that kind of sound. It's actually bad. I reckon if you go back and listen, you'd actually like it quite a lot. And then as he progressed, his sound started to change. So I stopped kind of enjoying Drake's music after his Nothing Was the Same album, which is one of my favourite albums from him. Probably one of my favourite albums in general. I really love that album because of when it come out and whatever else. But I know that you're not an advocate. So I can't even really tell you.
Not at all. I've got no time
to go and listen, but because I know you like music in general, I think there's elements of some of his albums that you'll appreciate because of how it sounds. But if you don't like an artist, it's difficult to like. Oh, I like that. If you don't like the artist, it's gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
But Drake. Yeah, I can't.
Never been a fan.
Yeah, I don't.
In all fairness,
I don't.
But as you know, that goes for a lot of the newer artists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Him, Kendrick, and all that. I've never been fans.
Yeah. So you think you'd say
any of them.
You'd say Kendrick's overrated as well?
Yeah, I'd say so. You know what I mean? I've heard a couple of his songs and hasn't done nothing for me.
But again, it's weird.
Whatsoever.
It's mad because with Kendrick, I've never been a massive Kendrick fan, but not because I don't rate him skill wise. Again, Kendrick's very similar to Eminem for me. I was put onto Kendrick, my boy Kyron, Supreme Kai, big up Supreme. He still is like a Kendrick fanatic. Like he loves Kendrick Lamar, one of his like proper influences. And he showed me there's a Kendrick mixtape called Section 80. It's one of his like first bodies of work. And if you listen to that, similar to like what I was saying about Drake, bad. Then he progresses in his career and shit starts to change a little bit and he starts going a bit like left with the stuff that he makes. And again, like very skilled at manipulating words and syllables and breaking stuff down and making you think, oh, how did he think of that? But then at the same time, it's just like, well, this as a song isn't really grabbing me. Mm-hmm. Like someone like Kendrick, even Eminem, in that regard, I feel like they'd be a lot more effective if they were like poets, if that makes sense. Mm. Obviously, every MC is a poet, really and truly. But if that's what was their thing, poetry, like, I feel like they'd be a lot more, for me anyway, they'd be a lot more effective because they'd make me think about what they say. On beats, again, I always listen to, the beat has to grab me first.
100%.
If I'm not grabbed by an instrumental,
100%.
Listening to a track is very, very difficult.
And this is where the lyricists would be so upset with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a beats man first.
Yeah.
The lyrics are always secondary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think for them type of artists as well, it's all about the production.
Yeah.
I find their production is very lacking.
Yeah.
And this is the issue, which we've had the discussion before.
Yeah.
With someone like Nas.
Yeah.
That's what's let him down throughout his career. Now,
yeah.
A lot of Nas fans will get emotional with me saying this, but at the end of the day, it's the truth.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why people go on about Illmatic all the time.
Yeah, me being one of them, to be fair. Between that and It Was Written.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is the thing. To the point where he's now getting emotional by saying, you know what I mean? Like, I'm tired of
you sent me the other
talking about this album, but as you said, a lot of it is to do with him. It's his fault.
It's pathetic. Like, the thing is with Nas, right, is that Illmatic is a classic, right? It's 100% a classic, and I'll go as far as saying It Was Written is as well. I remember telling you the other day, I think I said to you about I'm actually starting to prefer It Was Written as.
But there's a few people who's saying the same thing nowadays.
I'm actually really starting to prefer that, which is, it's a bit weird, like, because I remember when I think you copied Illmatic for me actually, and I rinsed it from start. I had that on repeat. Same when I first got Ready to Die. Rinsed both. Probably two of the most rinsed albums I've had. Rinsed them from back to front. But I think as time's gone on, I've learnt to appreciate It Was Written more. I don't know why. Maybe because I was so attached to Illmatic, I couldn't hear anything else. But then I listened to It Was Written, I'm like, no, but this album's kind of bad as well. Like, Why how did I overstep this? But then after that, like, obviously, so I love Illmatic, Love It was written, I Am was alright. I love Lost Tapes, as you know.
Yeah.
Heavy album.
Yeah,
Again, I think that's one of his most underrated bodies of work. To be
Yes.
honest with you.
Yes.
But then anything else, like loads of Nas fans talk about Stillmatic, and I've never understood why. I'll be honest with you. Stillmatic isn't like, I don't really get the hype.
Nah. I think there was about three or four.
Yeah, maybe I have to listen to it again, but I feel like, yeah.
And this is the thing about him. He's always done that one banger per album. Always.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Always.
Yeah, because even Thingy was terrible. Nostradamus. Oh.
Yeah.
I'll go as far as to say I reckon that's probably his worst album, to be honest with you. Like, he actually released albums like later on in more recent years that are much better than that.
Yeah.
In a climate where hip hop weren't of the same quality. But Nostradamus is terrible.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna double check my facts, because
Awful album.
I think that the hit would have been You Owe Me off that.
With Genuine. That tune was alright though.
Yeah, I don't mind You Owe Me. The beat's bad.
Yeah. Timbo smacked it.
Yeah, the beat's bad. I think that is the track that actually saved him. Yeah. So you
see what I mean? So there's that one banger per album.
Yeah.
The Godson album, Made You Look.
Yeah.
The double CD album, Thief's Theme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The I Am album, Nas is like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, but then this is what's mad, because this is also how he kind of gets you when you think about it. On paper, so on this album, there's Havoc, Primo, Nasheem and Carlos 6 July.
On the Nostradamus album?
Yeah, and LES. So you look at that and think, this album's bad.
Yeah.
Like, no questions asked. And then you listen to it and you think, what the fuck?
Weak.
So where Blab concerned, I know he must have got enough slack. Enough slack for that. But, like, yeah, Nas definitely, when it comes to picking instrumentals for his albums, he's not really the most skilled at it, I'll be honest.
Terrible.
He's not.
Terrible.
He's not the most skilled at it. And like you said, if you're a listener like us, I suppose, where it's beats first, lyrics second, it's easy to look past Nas because the beats are up to scratch. So I think maybe what would be a good test would be to try and listen to Nas, like some of Nas's albums, and forget about the beats and listen to what he says, and see if we can appreciate.
But the thing is,
a bit more.
but let's not forget though, son. Like, there's never been an issue with him lyrically.
Yeah, no, there hasn't been, no.
That's the thing, you know what I mean? Because I notice as time's gone on, he's got more and more conscious.
Yeah. Because on Illmatic, he was talking some street shit.
You know, he's getting very, very conscious as time's going on. It's just, as I keep saying, the production. But what I noticed with him, I noticed how his mixtape tunes, unreleased tunes, and remixes and stuff are better than his album cuts.
Yeah.
I find.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because even his demo tape is heavy.
Yes.
Which you can find on YouTube. His demo tape's bad. I remember I found that. And I was like, raw. But then it goes to show what happens with certain artists. They're mad hungry. I suppose it happens with a lot of artists, but once they get to a certain stage in their career, it's like they're not as it's not like they lose. It's not that they lose drive. They're just not as hungry. I feel like after Illmatic come out, or even maybe after it was written as well, Nas was just like, I'm here now. Like, I'm just gonna do what I'm doing. Whereas with Illmatic, he's obviously gone all out. Like,
Yes.
I'm hollering Pete Rock, I'm hollering Primo, I'm hollering Q-Tip, I'm hollering Large Professor.
Yeah. LES.
Yeah.
He just wanted to
Yeah.
make a name for himself.
And that's what's mad, because that was obviously at a time when artists, like MCs, weren't doing that. Most artists, when they released albums around that time, they had one producer or two at most. You had like, obviously Biggie, when he put Ready to Die out, it was Easy Mo B for more or less the whole album. You got obviously with Wu, you got RZA throughout the whole album. Snoop, obviously with Dre and Daz throughout the whole album. Like all of the like massive albums at that time, they're all usually one or two producers at most. And Nas kind of thought, nah, do you know what? Like, I'm gonna make some phone calls and see what I can do here. And he created one of the, like, for me, it's not even just about hip hop. Like musically, that album, like, it's legendary.
It annoys me though how people kind of overlook LES though with that album. I don't really like that.
Yeah, and I suppose it's because...
And remember, that was one of the best tunes on the album.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
That opening verse from AZ has to go down in my top 10 greatest opening verses.
Yeah.
Definitely, of all time. Yeah. For me.
Yeah. AZ smacked. Do you see when they linked up the other day and re-performed it? It was a little while ago.
Okay.
And Nas Nas came out, and then like the beats played, and then AZ's just walked out and he's pointing at Nas and he's just doing the verse. It was bad, because I think even someone like AZ's another one who kind of gets swept under the rug a lot.
Gets overlooked badly.
Yeah.
Man. Badly.
He's definitely underrated. He gets
one
swept
of the best. One of the best again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just so many MCs, groups who just get overlooked in debates.
Another artist which a lot of people overrate, I get why, but because I'm actually a fan, I've got supporting arguments, would be Jigga. Jay-Z, for most people who aren't aware of calling him Jigga or Hove. Jigga gets overrated, I think, quite a lot. But I feel like that's based off his career in the past 10 to 15 years. Why he gets overrated so much, because of all the commercial success. But my supporting argument for when people say that, and again I've had it in conversations, is my thing is always, well, all you have to do, you don't even have to go back to like Reasonable Doubt and In My Lifetime and all of that. You don't have to go back to them albums to appreciate him. If you can still come forward and hear the recent stuff, just listen to him. Like, this is someone who doesn't write stuff down for a start. Everything is off the dome. Some of the lyrics that he comes up with are things that you have to appreciate. Like, don't get me wrong, for me, I'm still an advocate for the fact that when it comes to his albums, like, he hasn't topped Reasonable Doubt or In My Lifetime. They're 100% his, but for me, like, they're kind of, it's one or the other. If someone says I prefer In My Lifetime, which I know you're more a fan of, then...
No. Reasonable Doubt is definitely his best album. It is.
Okay, you prefer Reasonable Doubt.
But In My Lifetime, Volume 1 you're talking, innit?
Yeah.
That, again, that's an album people don't really talk about. Have you noticed?
Because I think, again, the whole Reasonable Doubt thing...
No, but people talk about Blueprint.
Yeah.
More Black Album, more...
But I think that's what happens, you know, like...
It's mad.
When In My Lifetime came out, because he was still living off the whole Reasonable Doubt hype. Because I remember him watching the interview, I can't remember who it was with. Like, he put Reasonable Doubt out, and it's just like, right, let me run with the momentum. Boom, next album. And then it's just like... Because it sounded so different in terms of, like, it was obviously still authentic, but you could tell his style started to change after that. After Reasonable Doubt and In My Lifetime, like post like 97, his style started to change. It's a bit more.
But remember, that was the time where the genre was starting to the sound was starting to change.
Which I think
it was round then. I think that's the reason why.
Which comes into the whole argument of when people prefer like Dynasty, Blueprint, Black Album. Black Album is probably, being honest, Black Album is probably my second favourite Jigga album after Reasonable Doubt. Like, I did really like the Black Album. But I think because I'm more appreciative of the producers that he had on that album, like loving Pharrell, loving the early Kanye productions and stuff like that. I'm more appreciative of that. So the Black Album, I was a fan. Even the documentary, the Fade to Black documentary, is bad. Like watching him make the album, like sitting there in the studio, coming up with it, and like, right, I'm ready. It's going in the booth. Like it made me appreciate the album. But I feel like in terms of why he's overrated, I think I get it because people are so they're very much used to a rich Jay-Z or a popular Jay-Z, a commercial Jay-Z. They're not used to the Jay-Z that like told Nas, I showed you your first tech, or the Jay-Z that said I'd rather die enormous than live dormant. Like they're not used to that Jigga. Like those lyrics are kind of like, I remember once my brethren, again, Kyron, honorary shout, he's never really been a big Jigga fan. And I remember I was on Twitter and I tweeted the lyric he's got on What More Can I Say? When he says they don't paint pictures, they just trace me.
Yes. I love that lyric.
Heavy. And Kyra messaged me and was just like, bro, who said that? That's mad. I was like, bro, it's Jay-Z, I'm telling you, like, stop.
And this is the thing.
Don't, like, just go and listen. Don't always just think of the...
But this is the thing, and this is what I notice, as time's gone on, I'm starting to appreciate him more and more lyrically.
Yeah.
He's definitely nice with the words as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, like when it comes to lyricism, he doesn't really get too much of a mention again.
He doesn't. And this is what I mean.
Which I don't understand.
And this is what I mean about the overrated thing. People don't, like, they don't understand lyrically, like, Jigga's a different level. Like, he proper is. Like, this isn't, like, this isn't someone to be played with. Jigga could spar with anyone, anybody. Like, and this is what I mean. Take away the commercial, like, take away like all of that. Just focus on his pen. Like, Jigga can go toe to toe with anyone. Doesn't matter what MC it is. I'll go on record and say that. Toe to toe with anyone. But I do get it though, because over the past couple of years I haven't been a massive fan of Jigga, to be fair. Like, I thought Magna Carta Holy Grail was dreadful. That's one of the worst albums I've heard.
Free and all foolishness.
Like,
foolishness.
Some of the worst albums I've heard. Yeah. And that might be a bold statement, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
he's fell off.
But then what's mad, I know you haven't even listened to it yet, I don't think, 444.
No.
444 is actually alright, and I was shocked because I was scared. You know when someone comes back out and you think, oh, for fuck's sake, it sounds alright. But I listened to it, and to be fair, I haven't listened to it in a little while, but there was for a period when it came out, I was bumping it quite often. I'm like, no, this album's kind of bad. And I think it's the content and him going through stuff as well, like obviously the Beyonce saga, like cheating on Beyonce and whatever else, and obviously having Blue Ivy and the kids and whatever. I think, I don't know, maybe it opened up a different component to make him say, Raj, you know what, let me reach back into like my original pocket and see what I'm working with. So yeah, I feel like I understand why he gets overrated, but at the same time, like, this is someone who needs a bit more respect, which is ironic because this is someone who you'd think is mad respected, but I don't feel like he is that well. Another one, which is definitely going to be controversial because you know there's a flipping brigade of them out there, is the Tupac argument, boss. The Tupac argument that he's the greatest of all time and Biggie couldn't touch him and
As you know, it's something I've never ever agreed with.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying he's a shit rapper because he's not. Like, you know what I mean?
The maddest thing is, I'll be honest, I used to think that.
No. I've never ever thought he was a shit rapper.
I did at one point. I just thought.
Because remember, growing up, and when we first got Sky, yeah, some of his tunes got rinsed. I remember on MTV, like Brenda Had a Baby and all that.
Yeah.
Them tunes got rinsed to death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I Get Around and all that.
Heavy.
You know what I'm saying? So I always knew, he was a decent rapper, but once again, it's the production, especially on his most popular album, I'd say, All Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like, I just think that album is so overrated.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I've heard people say, like, it's the greatest double CD ever. And I just think, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? I just feel to myself, again, a lot of people may get upset with this. I just feel to myself that he got mad popular when he became controversial.
Oh, when he got
When he started to get controversial, that's when I think a lot of people
this is the thing. Like I said to you before, I'll be hand up and honestly say there was a period I'm like, forget, like, I don't rate this brother. But now, as I've got older and going back to listen, I can say I'm a fan and I actually appreciate Tupac a lot. And not just because of his music. When I've gone back and watched interviews, I just love his, like, how rebellious he was.
Right.
And he just said whatever came to mind. If he thought something,
that's like me. Like, I'd rather him in interviews and stuff. Because he was like a revolutionary.
Yeah, and I loved it. I really loved that about him. To the point where I've definitely got like almost a little sentiment to Tupac in terms of, I can proper appreciate how this brother spoke, the stuff he put out there, his morals. Although he's a bit contradictory, I think, at times as well. But morally, I think his head and his heart, well, not even his head to be fair, but his heart was always in the right place. Like, he always spoke with like passion and stuff, which I really rated. But again, like the whole, like you said, All Eyes on Me, the 7 Day Theory album, like people always talk those albums up, but for me, the Strictly For My Niggas album and Me Against the World are better than both those albums for me. Yeah. Like, Strictly For My Niggas is one of my favourite albums where hip hop's concerned, without a shadow of a doubt. Like, I Get Around, as you know, I love that tune. I've rinsed it back to front. The Deadly Venoms tune with Tretch, and I can't remember who else is on it. Tretch. Let's be factual as always. Tretch. Yeah, Tretch, Apache, Live Squad. Flipping. I love Keep Your Head Up as well. I know that tune got rinsed, but
that tune bad.
Yeah, I love that tune.
That tune is bad as well.
Tune's heavy.
That's one of my favourites.
Yeah. Holler If You Hear Me's bad. Like,
yes.
Tune's bad as well.
That's
Like, that whole album's just heavy. And obviously Me Against the World, like, when I remember being young and watching MTV Bass, and they used to do the lick, when Trevor Nelson used to do the lick. And obviously after, when he's come back from break, they used to play the Temptations beat. When I was being young, I remember always used to say, like, yeah, I like this. But getting older, going back, I remember hearing Temptations on the album for the first time. I'm like, rah, that's the tune. Oh, shit. And then listening to the album and going, nah.
Heavy.
And then, obviously, I've listened to All Eyes on Me and the 7 Day Theory album. Not going to lie, I listened to that for the first time a couple of months ago. Because you know, like when people talk about stuff and they hype about it, I'm just not interested. But I'm like, no, do you know what? As I've grown to kind of, I suppose, be a fan, let me go and listen to this album. And it's all right.
But it's not great, is it?
Nah, far from great in my opinion.
You know what I mean?
But it's all right. But again, even on All Eyes on Me, as you know, Boss, my favourite tune on there, he's got My Mind Made Up.
Standard.
And
Standard.
that, and obviously he's hardly on it. So it kind of says a lot about the album in terms of, well, as far as my opinion is concerned. Obviously, you know, the Tupac Brigade will get upset, but for me, it's just a matter of an opinion. Like, I just feel like Strictly for My Niggas and Me Against the World, them two albums aren't appreciated enough. It's always All Eyes on Me and 7 Day Fury, and I feel that's because, like you said, he got controversial and his career heightened with the beef and whatever else. But the second and third albums are classics, as far as I'm concerned. They're classics. But everyone will always say, oh, All Eyes on Me, because it's a double disc, because he was on death row, and it's just like, yeah. But it's another interesting one where, so far we've had Eminem, who I feel like is rightfully overrated. We've got Jigga, who is understandably overrated. Nas, again, is probably understandably overrated. But also, because of, I think because Nas hasn't ever really been that controversial either, he gets a lot more like respect than Jay-Z does. Which is a bit...
Yeah, I think if there was to be like a hip hop survey, a worldwide survey, I think you'd find Nas would probably be the most respected.
Yeah, I can agree. I reckon so. Nas gets a lot of respect.
He does. Massively.
He gets a lot of respect. But again, I feel like, and this is what I mean, the difference between when you've got legitimate fans like us and you've got people who are just like
sheep.
Yeah. They rate Nas because of the like Made You Look. I Know I Can. The Just a Moment tune, like all these like tunes where he's preaching a message. Not necessarily so much it Made You Look, but like that's where the ratings come from. And just like I get that, but hip hop's not just about what message you portray. It's about your skills. And that's what I hate, is there's not so much focus on the skill. Oh, but look, like he's putting out a positive message. Yeah, that's all well and good, but the skill. Like, let's not forget the skill. Like, so yeah, we've had Eminem, Nas, Jigga, Pac. Yeah, I feel like, to be fair, in the overrated, underrated argument, or more often than not the overrated argument, they're probably the four where authentic hip hop's concerned, because we'll leave like Drake and Kendrick to like another. You can leave that to another episode, but they're the four that are most. They're always thrown up in the air. Eminem, Jigga, Nas, Pac. Like, yeah, it's quite interesting, to be fair.
No, it is. It is. Standardly.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we've come to the conclusion that at the end of the day, it's all down to opinion.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's all down to opinion.
Yes.
But if you're a real fan or just purist, or you appreciate the culture and what hip hop's about, there's always room for debate about overrating and underrating certain artists. So yeah. Yeah, I feel like that was a decent chat, Boss, to be fair.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think think next time we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to delve into the top 50 argument. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice build on from
this.
From this.
Yeah, yeah. That'd be alright still.
Yeah.
I need to look at that.